Hey,
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica. There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November. Happy Sunday, Throppers. Hope you all are doing well. We are on location. Hope you can hear me. Let me make sure. Seems like it's all good here. Got a different setup. We got a mobile setup going on here. So if there's any hitches, any delays, or anything like that, please let me know. I will try to adjust. But I hope you all are doing well. We got a few things to discuss as usual on these Sunday live streams, but we also have a pretty awesome guest as well, and a structural engineer. So they're actually going to be coming on in about less than half an hour or so. And this is going to be continue along the theme of getting a better understanding of construction, buying property, building, like the whole process that one would need to go through in order to perhaps build their dream home, their vacation home, their retirement home, even doing commercial real estate. Perhaps you're looking to build a plaza or something of that nature. And the last few weeks, we've been very consistent in having on different experts in those various different fields, from architects to structural engineers, who we have today. We had on a quantity surveyor the other week. We had on last week, we had on the Paris Portmore Parish Council. So like all these different agencies and different experts that you would need perhaps to buy a home, build a home, buy land, build a home, and that sort of thing. So we're continuing that along that theme today with a structural engineer and kind of getting into the weeds of that. So of course, as usual, like let me know if you have any questions as we're going through the conversation, or if you have any questions even now, I will do my best to save it and get back to it once we have our guests come on. And as I see, a lot of you are already doing this, but let me know where you're chiming in from, what city, what state, what country. It's always great to hear where everybody's from. We're also going to do some updates on ThropX, talk about that a little bit. And for the most part, that will be the show, I would say. There were a few articles that I want to talk about, just touch on briefly, like just continuing to touch on tourism and it continuing to do well. And we had a very, what would I say? It was an interesting conversation that we had on Wednesday, talking about tourism and the thousands and thousands of rooms that are coming to Jamaica. And there were different opinions on that, who it's going to benefit, and really getting an understanding from different perspectives on how it's really going to affect Jamaica at the end of the day. And it's like one of those things, as we were saying in the discussion last week, it's something, the train has left the station, so to speak, in terms of like what's happening with Jamaica, this stuff that we talk about here and that we discuss. It's no secret. And it's more so, how can we guide, this is my opinion, it's like, how can we guide this process of development, of rapid development that's happening in Jamaica, so that it can benefit a wide spectrum, a wide cross section of individuals, particularly Jamaicans. And that one, in a sense, was, I would say, at the heart of the discussion in talking about the forward movement of tourism in Jamaica. So there's one article I want to jump in a little bit, but I'm going to get into the articles before we do that. The articles. I'm going to get into the comments before we get into this article. And then I'm just kind of looking at this article now. We'll get into that in momentarily. But let's hop over to the comments real quick. Leon says, blessing throppers, happy Sunday with enough love from the beautiful sunny Jamaica. Awesome. Who among us love when Sunday rice and peas have a little bun? Happens only with a real coconut. Wagwan Throp. What's going on, Leon? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining as usual. Always appreciate your comments and insights. Donna Bright says, happy Sunday, Throp and Throppers from Ottawa, Canada. Awesome. Mark McCarthy, what's going on, Mark? Says, greetings, Throp and family. Throp family, happy Sunday. Hailing from New York to Jamaica. Excellent topic. Thank you, Throp. You got it. No problem. This should be a really good one. Miss Perfectly Imperfect says, greetings, everyone. And Donna Bright says, reminding everybody to hit that like button. Very, very important. Brian Clean Waters, happy Sunday, all. Jeff Rogerson says, hi to everyone from Montreal. Jan, good afternoon, Throp and Throp family. Nice to see you, Jan. Big Ben says, hello, everyone. Blessings from Atlanta. Kingston 16, what's going on? Bless up yourself from California. Anby Sue, hi Throppers, checking in from Dallas, Texas. Awesome, awesome. Corey MPA, hello from Florida. Red Stripe, big up from Dallas, Texas. Cherie, good to see you as usual. Hello all. And yes, Cherie's laughing at Leon in his comments there. Paulette Nelson, hello Throp and Throppers from Vancouver, British Columbia. Nice to see you. Norbert from Massachusetts. Awesome. Thanks for being here, Norbert. Greetings from Atlanta. Natasha York chiming in. Happy Sunday to you as well. Shayna, love coaching. Always good to see you, Shayna. Thanks for chiming in. Jay Fitz says, hello, Throp and family, chiming in from Atlanta. Awesome, Fitz. Jay Fitz, good to see you. Cherie says, happy Sunday, everybody, everyone. MDL says, hi, Throp and Throppers, chiming in from Washington, D.C. area. We'll be going to Jamaica Fest in Silver Spring, and a few we'll watch later. Awesome. I don't even know what Jamaica Fest is, but that sounds like a lot of fun. Hope you have a great time there. Gregoretti says, happy Sunday from Negril, Jamaica. Awesome, awesome. Hope you're having an awesome time in Negril. Tisha, happy Sunday from South Florida. Awesome. X-Law, Boston, Dea, Throp. I haven't seen you in a while. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time, X-Law, but nice to have you. Thanks for joining. Norbert from Massachusetts says, my question is, how do you feel about other parishes trying to capitalize on Negril's name reputation? So funny having this conversation. Who was I talking to? I think it was a realtor I was talking to about that. And so what I believe Norbert's talking about is, so I'll do at the start of one example. So Grand Palladium, which is in Grand Palladium, Lady Hamilton, which is a huge hotel. I think it's over 1,000 rooms. It's located in Lucy, like no question, it's in Lucy. And it used to be under the umbrella of Negril. You should like they were advertised as a Negril hotel, and they were tricking people in the sense of having them think that they were staying in Negril. Like I remember meeting people who's staying at Grand Palladium, who would come to Negril and saying, yeah, they say that's Negril. I'm like, no, it's not. Like, not even close. That's 45 minutes away from Negril. Honestly, never thought anything of it, but you're right that in a sense that, like, yeah, that's kind of not cool. That's kind of not cool. Now I understand they're putting themselves in the category of Montego Bay. So they say they're a Montego Bay hotel, which is like complete crap. And then that's not, and that I don't think that's cool. Like, that's pretty deceptive if you ask me. Like, you're in Lucy. It is what it is. There's nothing that's there's nothing much happening in Lucy. No disrespect, but that's just the reality of the situation, and that's the biggest thing in Lucy from a tourism perspective, without question. But in no way is Grand Palladium located in the Grill. It's just simply not. Looking at the Princess Hotel, which is in Green Island, I'm not sure what they're going to label themselves as in terms of their location. I'm not sure where they're going to, if they're going to say that they're a Green Island hotel, which again, there is nothing going on in Green Island. No disrespect or anything like that, but that's just the reality of the situation. And so I don't know what can be done. Like, that's for sure. That's like, intellectual property. I think from a moral perspective, that's quite deceptive. Because people are like coming here, going to the hotel, staying there, and like, yeah, I was in Negril. I was at Grand Palladium. I was like, no, you weren't. You weren't in Negril. You never saw Negril. You never been in Negril. So it's just funny. But what are you gonna do at the end of the day? I haven't really heard anybody from a leadership standpoint like fight for it. Fight for our name, and perhaps that's something that we should consider. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I'm going to screenshot your comment here, Norbert. But there are a lot of I wouldn't say a lot, but we talked about Little Bay and that development with the hotel, which is like, in the embryonic stages at this point, but nonetheless, that's on the other bookend of Negril. Are they going to call that Negril? I'm not sure. Are they going to try to rebrand or completely do a separate brand of, Little Bay? They could, but they're a lot closer than Lucy, than Grand Palladium is. Yeah. Little Bay is a lot closer to Negril, I should say. So it is interesting, but get the brain working. That's an interesting comment. Thank you for that. Gary Allen says, hi, Throp. We'll be out in November. Hope to catch one of your ThropX sessions. Awesome. Would love to have you. Would love to have you aboard. Of course, if you have any questions, you can shoot us a message and we can help you out with that. MDL talking about the Jamaica Fest in the Washington, D.C. area, says it's Jamaica Independence 61 wrap-up. Okay, that's pretty cool. Hey, Camille. Thanks for chiming in. Big Ben says, got a chance to support the Scotch Boys last week. Jerk Sauce was really good. My family loves it. I love this. Like, I've been getting so many comments about you all supporting the Scotch Boys. I'm going to get these messages over to Matthew and Neil, as a matter of fact. But I really, really appreciate that, and I'm sure they do. But like, when you all tell me that stuff like this, that you're supporting businesses that have been on this channel, that really it shows the impact of our community that we've built. And so it's like, yeah, it's a bottle of hot sauce, couple of bottles of hot sauce, but nonetheless, it makes a difference, and it makes I think it makes a huge impact on what we're doing here in building this community and supporting the people who come on this show, and supporting, especially with Scotch Boys, like these young Jamaican entrepreneurs that have this very, very global brand that are doing amazing things. And we want nothing more than to see them be successful. And I think we can help them with that in a big way. Exlo says, Lives is where I took my common entrance exams. So Lucy is on the map. Okay. Fair enough. Lucy. Oh, okay, you're saying Lucy is where you took the comment. I mean, I hear you, but like from a tourism perspective, like what are people going to Lucy for? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, no disrespect to Lucy at all. Like, half of the people that live, I mean, sorry, excuse me, that work in the Negril live in Lucy. But again, from like a tourism perspective, this is like there's, at least right now, there's not a lot going on there except for that hotel. Lloyd Roberts says, joining from Yonkers, New York. Great work, Throp. Keep up the good work. First time joining your live, but I do watch your videos. Very interesting. Thank you very much, Lloyd. I appreciate your support and watching. Excuse me, Tisha says, those hotels should just say they're located between the capital of casual and the second capital. Like they're close to both, so just work off that. I agree. And then I also think, like, from the perspective of Lucy, that is also disrespectful, right? It's just like your hotel is located in Lucy. You should be proud of that. And that should be almost like a catapulting opportunity to get more investment to Lucy. But if you're putting yourself in the category of, Negril or Montego Bay, that's not cool. That's not cool at all. So I think on the other side of things, I think that is more disrespectful than anything else. Melissa chiming in from NYC. Nice to see you. Nice to have you on the stream, Melissa. Simone says, hello, Throp and everyone. Andrew Blake, what's going on, Andrew? Hi, Throp and family. And Ramsey, happy Sunday to you as well, cuz. Thanks for joining. What's going on, Joe? Hope you are well. Nice to see you. Joe chiming in from NYC. Havrika, what's going on? Nice to see you on the stream. Paul Williams says, happy Sunday, Throp and Throppers. It's been a while catching you live, checking in from Sacramento, California. Love what you're doing for our community and country. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words and I appreciate the support. Really, really helps. And thanks for being a channel member, Paul. It really goes a long way. And thank you as well, Joe. Thank you as well, Shayna, for being channel members. It really does help out a ton. Goes a really long way. Marcia White says, hi, everyone. UK in the house. Good to see you. Miss Cole chiming in from Connecticut. Cherie says, I'm curious what you share on this topic. I know people who choose to go to Montego Bay for the nightlife. They always say jungle is the only nightlife. So Cherie is talking about the Jungle nightclub, which it really is the only nightclub in Negril. However, there are, and I'll also say, like, for Throp X, we have a night on the town. Like, so one of the evenings, we're going to be going out on the town in Negril to many of these places that we've been talking about. And I realized that people have been, at least the diaspora, have been away. Many people have been away from Jamaica for a long time. And perhaps there's a curiosity into what the nightlife is like, whether or not that is your lifestyle or not. But I think it's kind of cool to be amongst a group of individuals and people to experience what modern day, if you will, modern day Negril nightlife is like, from the perspective of like going out to eat, going to a lounge, then going to a club like the Jungle. So that's part of the agenda and the itinerary for Throp X. However, with that, yes, the Jungle is the only club in Negril. However, Negril is also, as far as I know, perhaps the only place in Jamaica where you can see a live reggae show on the beach any given night of the week. Very different vibe, very different experience from a nightclub like the Jungle that's open on a Thursday night, which is ladies' night, and then a Saturday night. Those are only 2 days that they are open. However, a lot of people come to Negril for the reggae music and the live music. And I think people come to Jamaica for that in general. But that's one of the unique aspects of Negril, is to see a live reggae show on the beach any given night of the week. So that's another type of entertainment, another type of experience that you can do on any given night. And now, and when I say now, I'd say in the last 5-7 years, COVID kind of got me a little mixed up, but they started doing these live shows during the day. And that also has become very, very popular. So you get these live reggae bands on the beach. And the two places that stick out in my mind, and if there are more that I'm forgetting, forgive me, but one is Drifters. I love their Sunday lives. I actually have a video on them. And they do this, like, I think is an incredible show of different talents. And they not only do reggae, but then they also do souls. They also do, so the owner of the bar, one of the co-owners is Luddy Sams, who was part of the Drifters. So he sings all those types of songs, like from the 50s and 60s kind of thing. And then, of course, a lot of reggae. And they do, I don't know their exact schedule, but they're multiple times a week for sure. But the one that I have experienced multiple times is their Sunday afternoon live bands on the stage. And it's like really awesome vibe. Everybody's cool. Everybody's chilled. Everybody's welcome. And it's great, great music. And then the other place that they do that is a Boat Bar. Again, I don't know their schedule exactly, but they have a live band during the day, which I always thought was like a huge opportunity, because there's not like a lot of day parties, if you will, or daytime entertainment along the 7 Mile Strip in Negril. And it's just interesting that kind of just started, because like when you think of like, hey, what's there to do during the day, like party wise, especially for young people, like the first thing people say is Margaritaville. And for a long time, like that was kind of the only place that you go. But it's like, it's a little commercial, a little touristy, and some people don't necessarily go for that kind of vibe. But with a Drifters or Boat Bar, it's definitely for sure more authentic Jamaican experience and music. So, and then the last type of entertainment that I'll bring up that happens in Negril is what I would call like promoted parties. And so these promoted parties, like Dream Weekend would be like an extreme promoted party. Like, because that's more of a festival, like a 6-day festival. They basically take over Negril. They have a major party in the during the day, and then a major party at night. And this is like thousands upon thousands of people like fly into Negril specifically for this, celebrating emancipation and independence. So, but that is extreme. But then you have like a promoted party like Different Strokes. And I talked about this party, and I was actually talking to Sean, the proprietor of this party, the promoter for this party. And that's actually on the 18th of November, the day after Thropex. And so we're still working it out. We're still trying to figure out how this works, how we're gonna make it work. But like, I really like his party that he puts on, because it's all oldies, like the whole entire night. I don't think they go past the 90s in terms of music. And it's like all across like genres, like reggae, ska, but then you also got like R&B, souls, even country, like all of that stuff. And it's like a really, really great vibe that they have built up over the years. And that's on the Thropex ends the 17th. Our farewell dinner is on the 17th. And the night of the 18th is the Different Strokes party. So I'm actually kind of thinking of like how we could possibly incorporate that into the unofficial agenda of the of Thropex, because I know a lot of people are planning on staying over, and I know a lot of people are coming earlier, but also a lot of people are staying longer as well. So I'm thinking of, again, offering that as an unofficial part of the itinerary. So that, I would say, like a long way to say, Cherie, like that's kind of like the entertainment nightlife options in Negril. And then you just have, like, I would say, regular run-of-the-mill things like going to different restaurants, and there's tons of different restaurants, great cuisines, like all around Negril, both on the beach on the west end, and then also you have that, and then tons of bars. I think that's one of the great aspects of Negril, like huge advantage that Negril has over many other parts of Jamaica, but this perhaps even the Caribbean in general, is like the walkability of Negril. And especially if you're staying at a small hotel, there's very little need to have a vehicle or perhaps to need a taxi. Whereas other parts of the island, like anytime you want to do anything outside of a hotel, you need to get a taxi. Where in Negril, you're staying at a small locally owned hotel, go out on the beach, make a left or make a right, depending on where you are, and you can go to another bar, another restaurant on your own accord. You don't need anybody's help. You don't need anybody's permission. You don't need a drive or anything like that. You can even do that on the street. We have a shared walking path across the street from the hotel that is off the road, that it's not anywhere close to the soft shoulder. And again, you are able to traverse Negril and go about your way, and it just kind of gives you this greater sense of just freedom and mobility. And same thing if you're staying on the West End, you can walk from like hotel to hotel, bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, and you don't necessarily need to get a taxi. So again, that's what I think is one of the great advantages of Negril. Joe is asking, is Jungle Nightclub Club Jamaican owned? It is. It is owned by the Wallaces. So Matthew's family, one of the Scotch boys, his family owns that hotel. Excuse me, that nightclub, and it's been that way from as far as I know it existed. J Fit says, I stopped by Target this morning after church and got 3 more bottles of Scotch Boy Sauce. Great product. Awesome. Love to see this. Love to see this type of support. I'm screenshotting all the Scotch Boy stuff. Red Stripe says, hey, Throp, as a hotelier, what are some key support businesses you think Negril needs to make hotels more efficient? So I spoke about this one before, and this is the laundromat. I think that's like a great ancillary business for the hotel industry. I talked about this before. There's a laundry facility in Ochi, I believe, and a lot of the large hotels in Negril send their laundry, they outsource their laundry, and they send it all the way to Ochi. And what also tends to happen is that these large, at some point, your laundry machine is going to go down. It's just the nature of the business. And it's happened to us before. And it could sound like trivial in terms of, you don't really think, you just expect your laundry to be done, right? And you expect clean towels. But I can tell you that is like one of the worst nightmare situations that a hotel can have, is their laundry going down. I would say water is number one. Like that is like the worst situation. If for some reason, water goes out or you run out of your backup water and you're trucking water, that is like one of the hardest situations to manage. That's any size hotel, doesn't matter. And then I would say second would be electricity, but I think as an island, we kind of get used to that and know how to deal with that. But perhaps our guests there will be a great inconvenience for them. But I'll put electricity second. And then the other thing is like laundry going down. Just imagine everybody going to the beach. They expect clean beach towels. They expect new towels in their room, clean sheets. Nightmare situation. So anyway, I think a great business would be a commercial laundromat. And then you also have a residential laundromat as well. So if somebody is staying here in Negril, for example, for 3 months, 6 months, either they can send out their laundry or they can go somewhere and do their laundry themselves. And there is definitely a trend that's happening that people are staying longer and longer in Negril. And these are the sort of support businesses that I would say that people are looking for. So that great question. So that's like the first thing that comes off the top of my head in terms of support businesses to hotels. And then I would also say there are a lot of, they call these like in Jamaica, they call them linkages businesses, like all of these businesses that support hotels. So you got the farmers, you got carpenters, you got, the different services like carpenters, plumbers, electricians. And it's like those stuff is like, if you can come in and do it better than the average person, you're gonna do well. If you can be organized, if you can be on time, you can be a professional on a lot of these things, you can do well. But as far as services that I think that are missing, the first thing that I think of is laundry. And I think whoever does that, and somebody will, it's going to do exceptionally well. All right. I see a lot of comments here. So I'm going to save these comments and hopefully we can get back to them shortly. But we have our guests is here in the back room and they are waiting. So before I bring them on, I just want to do a quick introduction of them. And as you can see from the thumbnail and title, we are having a structural engineer come on. My headphones are dying, so I might need to switch to my AirPods in a second. But anyway, we will be having a structural engineer on. And again, it's going in line with the theme that we've been having for the last few weeks with the different guests that we've had come on. We've had a quantity surveyor, architects. We've had developers come on. 2 weeks ago, we also had our first construction contractor on as well. And so this for sure is continuing along those lines. So with that, we have Mr. Ryan Johnson joining us shortly. He's been a structural engineer for 10 years, had humble beginnings, and worked his way to becoming the managing director of Aztec Design, a structural engineering firm that prides itself on great collaborative work with architects and developers. So with that, I would like to invite Mr. Johnson to the stream. How are you today?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm very excited for our conversation here today. And I can tell you very much my community is very interested in your expertise. So again, really appreciate you taking the time out on this Sunday for joining us. And I know I've give you a brief introduction, but I also want to give you the opportunity to kind of give us a little bit more background on yourself, if you would, please.
All right. Aztec Design, we're morely an engineering consulting firm. So from time to time, I have professional engineers who I do works with, collab with as well. Um, Same as architects and other any other consultants through the whole construction industry. So we're a number of projects. And yeah, it's just a collaborative work. I mean, without teamwork, you can't get a project to be completed. So
Right.
that's a
And thank you for that. And from kind of want to get a little bit more perspective on yourself, and if you can give us an idea of like what your journey has been to become a structural engineer. Because I also think like anytime like I have somebody like yourself come on, like I also think about like young people coming up and kind of giving them a better understanding of the diversity in careers and perhaps learn a little bit about your path, and maybe they can see themselves in you, in your explanation and understanding your journey.
All right. Well, I never had engineering in my mindset that I wanted to be an engineer. So I would say I was more looking at project management, and I started UTech 2010, and I did the diploma in construction management. But after my final year, I was like, and I got some advice too from other project managers who said, I mean, I look up to them for advice, and when you get these advices very early, you can know where to direct your direction. You can know what path to take, and if you can outline a path and see through it, you can become anything you want to be, any change at any time. So I got that advice, and after my final year of UTech doing the construction management, I went to the engineering. A lot of my friends thought that, why this big shift and this drastic change, and you sure you can handle it and all of these things. And I mean, 3 more years again in your life. Um, it's just perseverance, um, being focused, and just knowing what you want. Because again, in that 3 years span, I got an internship at a engineering firm right off the bat after finishing school. And from there, it was rest is history. It's just a matter of just taking in all the knowledge, working on yourself as well, growing, seeking advice, and I mean, it's not hard to say, okay, a older person is there in the profession and he can say, here what, I want to, take me upon a mentorship, you know, even simple as that. Somebody giving back their time to help you grow and foster your career as well. And a lot of persons don't take time to build and improve themselves, So it was a, it's a journey. Luck
And I,
as
was-
well.
and I was gonna ask, was there something or someone that inspired you to become a structural engineer or to do engineering in general?
It wasn't say someone, but I had persons over. I would say it's a collective of persons. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's a collective, and every time in my journey, any stage throughout, I've met somebody along the way that improved me, helped me out a lot, teach me things from their side and thing life aspect as well. It's not about just the career choice; it's life as well.
Mm-hmm.
And opening up to persons. I mean, it's so our community is very small. Everybody will know each other easily, and I mean, once you do honest work and straightforward with anything you're doing, it's the easiest way to go.
Gotcha. And as we segue into the actual nitty gritty and career aspects of what you do, can you tell us exactly what a structural engineer does?
All right. The normally say an architect will give you the dream, but the engineers make it a reality. So
Okay.
I always have that aspect in my mind anytime somebody always ask me what an engineer does, and I mean it's it's a lot of work
Mm-hmm.
designing and making sure that whatever designs you're sending out are structurally sound. You have the integrity, you have the checks safety wise as well. Because once you send that through the door, your name is on the line. So again, I work with other professional engineers. I'm associates with them, and we collaborate on a lot of works together. So even when we're doing designs, everybody will still go through it, check it. So it entails coming up with a steel reinforcements, concrete strength, concrete design. Um, you have the civil side of it as well,
Mm-hmm.
for infrastructure, which is the stormwater or sewage. And again, you have other engineers as well along the line, which are MEP engineers, with your serviceability of building, make sure it's inhabitable, anybody can. Yeah, so once I get our whole team together,
Mm-hmm.
straightforward from there. So we're really the wet works, the initial kicking of the construction side of it. Because without a foundation design, how would a building stand up? Everybody wants this open concept. The idea, first you have to consult an engineer. You
Mm-hmm.
can't get out. You can't just, oh, I want this wall to be removed. What is above the wall? Is that next floor and it's a wall above lining along that line? So once you take out that wall, is the building sound? Is it structurally sound? Yeah, you understand? So once that wall is removed, you can easily put yourself in problems. So you can be in $100 million house and it can become zero with one removal of an element. Trust me.
Mm.
So no, not
Uh,
sure. That's what.
so basically, in a big way, like an architect will put together like this beautiful drawing and this dream home or dream building or whatever it is, but you come in and you're like basically say one whether it's possible or not or how it can be possible because there may be aspects of the design or the drawing that could jeopardize the safety of the entire structure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you had also mentioned that you do like even like the water you were saying.
Infrastructure, yeah. So civil
Okay.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
yes, which has to do with the whole stormwater and sewage aspect of the property. I mean, once rainfall, if you can get flood out, you have to make sure you can find these, solutions to these problems.
Right, 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 right. Okay. So kind of continuing to move along like what you do. Yeah, and you were earlier you were talking about being part of this team, and we obviously know like communication in your line of work is like extremely important. can you walk us through your, I don't know, philosophy, ideology, how you collaborate with the other professionals on a project?
All right. As you know, once the architect finish the design and signed off from the client, they
Mhm.
will send it to me and any other electrical engineer or again the same mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineer, and we will collab as well. So we can know that okay, this is where I would put this. For example, civil. This is where I would put a manual to take a sewage. This is where I put a grating to take the storm water. But will it clash with the other engineers' designs, routing either electrical to the
Mhm.
property or to the building, and you don't want it? So you won't clash. So that is the reason why doing the preliminary designs, you won't have a clash of any consultants. And you get a effective and cost effective design as well. And same as structural. I mean, where I'm putting the columns, beams, where I want to route, where you can route your services without affecting any of these elements, the building elements. And yeah, so once we collab and finish our plans and designs, the architect will normally vet it, go through it, and once we have a understanding and everything is green lighted, the project can be completed.
And so even after the drawing is complete, you're still working directly with the architect and like iterating the drawing
Yes,
or iterating construction.
yes, to when you're reaching the construction phase, because
Mhm.
that is now where all the problems will arise, or you can have a smooth sail, or because again, when you have the plans, you can start and finish a project without any problems because you have everything in the forefront and you know where all your provisionals will be.
Mhm. Sorry, somebody's asking if you can speak a little closer to the microphone.
Closer.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where my AirPods. All right,
Okay.
I can be louder, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, because what you're saying is very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to stick with the on the ground aspect of it and the actual
Mm-hmm.
construction phase,
Mm-hmm.
and give us an idea of like how present are you like on the site, in the background. What's that balance look like?
Well, it can be tedious
Hmm.
because having, if you have, say, four projects or even three, especially coming out of foundation, you have to be present a lot and ensuring that your designs are kept accordingly is the biggest section, is the biggest aspect of it because you don't want somebody you say all right, use this amount of steel or this type of steel and they use something else.
Hmm.
I have I being the engineer on it, I can't sign off that. So I have to make sure so I'm present because any changes in the design they can affect your whole structure.
Mm. And so, like, are you like ensuring, like, being on site? Like, are you ensuring, like the contractor is going like according to the plan, and then it perhaps whatever for whatever reason they go off kilter, and you're like, no, 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 you're supposed to use this type of steel. You're supposed to put this here, that sort of thing. Like, is that what you're also doing?
Yes, because again, it's a part of the management and consult post contract aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be present, especially as I say, foundation is the most critical aspect of it. And if you're wrong in the start, there's no way you can be correct in the end. And it's very critical. I've seen sites where they try to cut costs, and trust me, I told them that you can't sign off this. You have to do the right thing. And
Mm-hmm.
once you divert from my plans without telling me, it's a no go from there. Because any issue and there's a new already. Any issues, it's law, suits, all of these things. So it's very critical and loss of life. That's a key
Mm.
importance. That's the number one concern. You cannot do a building, and you have to factor life and safety.
Right. And I could tell you from the perspective of a lot of people who are watching this, they're watching it from a perspective of learning and understanding exactly what you do, how you do it, the importance of what you do, but then also when they go into their own projects, they're learning from these examples that you're telling us, because they're going to say like, no, 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 no. I was watching Throp Live. We had Ryan when Ryan was on, and he said da 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 da. So
Yes.
like, there's also that aspect of is kind of learning vicariously through your experience. And so, with that same example that you just gave, what does happen, and what is the procedure if one of the team members that you're working with, whether it's a contractor or someone else as part of the team, is going off kilter? Like, how do you address that? How do you protect the client that you're working for to ensure that, worst case scenario, that there isn't a loss of life?
All right. Well, I can say that any project I've been on, variation is always there. It's
Gotcha.
never, it's never perfect as the design on paper will be built. There's always some variation. I mean, changes will come. Somebody would want something bigger, smaller, or change an element between steel or concrete. So, any changes that comes to me would have to come from the architect. So the client will tell the architect, then the architect will come to the engineering side of it to do any changes necessary, and we will always do the design, recheck, and come back again with the next drawings and say, okay, this is the variation drawings, and we can take it from here.
And with that, and like, I guess before I get into that question, can you tell us about, lack of a better term, like I guess some of the more interesting projects that you have worked on? Would you be able to share that? Perhaps some that you are, maybe one or two that you are most proud of being a part of.
All right. I can say the first one would be Bosco, St. John's Bosco Vocational Training Center in Mandeville. So
Okay.
it's a boys' home, and have a good friend of mine. He's an architect, so we collab on any projects for that client. And it's a boys' home. They're converting it into a vocational training center. So they will teach any cosmetics, catering, anything hospitality side of it. So right now they're in phase 2, completing their hospitality building. We completed the admin building last year with classrooms, and again, admin building, straightforward administration, offices, conference rooms. There are classrooms as well, and yes, and the prime minister came there and did a grand opening for them. So that is, I would say, I like to give back.
Okay,
You know,
awesome.
I like to give back, and I mean, it's not all about money at times, but you can also give back with your profession. So seeing these, again, the youths, you have to invest in the youths, because again, the amount of persons out there that doesn't have a skill, and having a skill can bring you so far in life. Discipline, and seeing the changes that is coming to this institution I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Okay, I'm still here, but my camera died.
That's all right.
Hold on, actually, yeah, keep going.
I mean, others are been a part of some gas stations and other multifamily apartment buildings. I mean, houses, villas, what else? Commercial buildings. So and even bridge works. I've been on a variety of different projects, different scope of projects all over the country. So it's and again, being at, I would say, a young person, and seeing that I'm so versed around, I would have to give credit to my former boss, who always give us the chance to come up with ideas. He wouldn't be the one sitting around behind me and saying, do this, do that. He would leave you to do research and come back with a design and say, I implement this, it's very cost effective. I can stand behind it, and he will look at it and do the checks and say, all right, give it a go. So I wasn't cooped up to just the normal, they just do this standard design and you stick with this route. I mean, if you have, and again, it comes down to learning and improving from other projects, because you'll get that experience and can implement it into other projects as well.
So I guess in a way, you're former bosses, they trusted you and trusted your, whether it's your creativity or your expertise and the newness of your ideas.
Yes.
No, that's good. That's good, because sometimes you don't have leaders that do that, right?
Yeah.
I do want to talk a little bit about, and we're getting a lot of questions coming in, which is great. I usually save the last 15 minutes for questions, but I think we're going to do the last maybe 25 or 30 minutes for questions. But I still have a few more questions for you myself. Kind of getting into like trends that you're seeing, and we see this, we see that, at least, you know, from my perspective, in this community's perspective, like we're seeing an incredible influx of construction and a housing boom in Jamaica in general. And now, in terms of new design or new, I would say maybe structural ways of putting things together, like what are you seeing, and like what is coming across your desk, and perhaps what is kind of being out with the old and in with the new sort of thing along
Yeah.
those lines?
I would say it's a how to put this? It's more like the boldness. You know, everybody wants to say that this is their building that they worked on, or I'm a part of this project because of how it looks aesthetically, and you know, it's just innovative. So
Mm-hmm.
the more persons can come with that idea, and you're like, can it work? Can it not work? You know, how best can I make sure this works? Because you don't want to change that vision from the architect and then know, you
Right.
know. And then if you, again, you can look overseas, look how much skyscrapers are there, and all these, especially in Australia, they have a lot of aesthetically pleasing designs that you're
Mm-hmm.
like, how can we build it so there? It's it's just a matter of just getting the idea through, the design through, and working through everything. So once you complete the safety, cost effective side of the design, you can go. But I've seen a lot of, you know, person trying to be bold with any designs they come across with. So once them feel like the vision it, you can just, you're just the part now to just make it a reality. You know? So yeah, I would just put it like that. It's more like a boldness kind of move, especially with younger architecture nowadays.
And is there an example that you are thinking of when you say that, like in terms of a bold design? And you had brought up like Australia as an example, but is there an example in Jamaica that
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
saying like it's
you
innovative?
can look at Waterloo, that apartment building. I think it's mixed. I think it's commercial and apartment and residential. It's a mixed
Mm-hmm.
use. And you can look at that. It's what, 20-story, right from Devon House. If you stand up and look to your left side, you can see that skyscraper going up. Other buildings like, I mean, even one Belmont, it's there off what's that? Oxford Road.
Mm-hmm.
You can see all these designs, and I mean, you couldn't believe that we as a country can find our identity,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good thing. So somebody now at a younger stage in their career can see these buildings going up and like, wow, where was this 10 years ago? You know,
Mm-hmm.
so you can see that there's a shift in the dynamic. Now everybody's trying out that, but but then designs, and everybody's going with this open glass, in terms of more glass kind of concept and steel frame, because again,
Mm-hmm.
there you can look at persons looking towards steel as a part of the element in your structure now versus back then, aside from warehouses. You know?
Right. And so, like, interesting you say that. And like my thinking, especially as a kid, obviously I'm not an engineer by any means, but like as a kid, I just remember my dad always saying that like everything has to be block, concrete, and steel because of hurricanes.
Yeah.
And now, how does now steel and glass? And we've been very lucky, knock on wood, Jamaica. We haven't really had a hurricane to test some of these modern structures. But from your perspective, like how will these and could these new structures stand up to, you know, Cat 5, Cat 4 for weather phenomenons?
And again, it comes back to designing.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So we have these softwares, and again, this is where you can excel and get out a design very quickly because we have software now that you can use for the wind loads, earthquake loads, dead and live loads of the building, and having occupancy in it as well, occupancy load. So these software will help us to, do the worst case scenario to test our buildings and its design. So that is where most of our, I would say, what is it? Like, we get the most out of the worst case design because now when it happens, you already test for this worst case design and you know it will survive. Your structure wouldn't face any integrity. Any no columns would fail, beams and your foundation. So, yeah. And if clients are investing these millions, you have to make sure that their buildings, you know,
Right.
can
And
survive
I would
any test.
assume that you're learning from other parts of the world in
Yeah.
their on what they're using and their particular weather phenomenons that they have.
Yes, and even again, as I said, the weather phenomenons like Libya and Morocco the other day,
Yeah,
regarding
yeah,
the
yeah.
earthquakes and so on,
Hmm.
and case studies are there where you can, and we're going through some of those studies right now. Again, the PE who I associate myself with, he's we're literally going through some articles, back and forth since week,
Hmm.
and just doing just case studies so that if this happens in Jamaica, we know what to look for, what to implement to negate all of these weather phenomenons and can survive 100 or more years. So even in Miami, where there was a collapse of an apartment complex as well. So
I remember, yeah.
yeah, so we do a lot of studies, and again, it's still you still have to find time to do these things aside from just working, and
Right.
implementing new designs and as again, it can stand the test of times because you'll want to see a building last more than 100 years.
Right. But like when you see things like what happened in Miami or like unfortunately Libya or Morocco, like these horrific events, do you like I can imagine, like, of course, you're like future designs. All right, we got to take an extreme situation like that into consideration. But like, what about an existing infrastructure? Do you think like, what can we do about our dams, or what can we do about these buildings, or whatever have you? Is that something that you take into consideration as well?
Yes, all right. I would say from time to time we get existing structures that would need addition or just to come and do a structural integrity analysis and assessment on it. So from time to time you have, and then there are other ways you can use. We have a lot of ways and methods to test any element of our existing building and see
Hmm.
what is needed to, you know, any design. We can see what design we can implement to say, all right, you can get the addition of another additional floor, or
I see. Hmm.
you can take out a wall as because again, removing elements from a building, it will affect throughout. It's not just one area; it will affect the entire building. So you have to take in consideration all of these because again, even removing any concrete element just to substitute it for steel just to get a longer span and all these designs, it's just a matter of testing and design, and take it from there.
Gotcha. Okay, and last question from me, and then we'll move into the many audience questions that we
Mm-hmm.
have here. Is along the lines of new materials that are being used, trending. You had mentioned that there is a trend towards steel framing and glass. Are there any other elements that are coming into play as far as new materials or innovative materials that are being used for new construction happening in Jamaica?
I would say foam. I've seen a lot of persons using the foam panels.
Hmm.
Um, which other one? There's this interlocking block. I'm not the name is not on top of my head right now, but they have this interlocking block. I think it comes from I don't remember, maybe Colombia, I would say.
Hmm.
But they will import the blocks and assemble houses, and it's quicker than our traditional block. And again, with any new system, it's always down to the cost and time, especially the panels. You have to pay more to get your walls erected quicker. You understand? To get the element done quicker, it's all related to cost. So if you can afford it and you have a very strict timeline, I would say green light. But if your budget is thin as a thread and you want to use panels,
Yeah.
you will never look at that as an option. You will stick with the regular traditional route as block, steel, and do your building. You understand? So it's just a matter of cost and time. It just depends on each project, you know. And I wouldn't say I favor one over the other.
Okay.
It's still down to the cost.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Okay, now we're going to move into some questions from the audience. This one is from Joe. She's one of our channel members here. And she asks, this might be a random question, but are there many women structural engineers?
Yes. Yes, and they're stricter than us as men.
Great, awesome.
I will tell you. About that. There are a few of them, but they're out there. And I commend them because again, it's not easy to be on a site where men and workmen and the project team. And I would say that, and again, they know that there are few in numbers, so they will always be out there they have to can stand firm to anybody. So I would say that they're there, and I always commend them. So, and I have a close friend who is an engineer as well with me. So from time to time, her and I collab on projects, and yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good to know. Thank you for that. That's great to hear, actually. All right, this question is from Fitzroy Williams. He says, I see a lot of cantilever structure in Jamaica, and they don't look safe. Are these being looked at by an engineer?
Well, I can't tell you for sure, but I mean, some projects I can say yes, but others I can say yes towards, because again, a lot of persons will do projects and don't consult an engineer at all. And when they're in the problem, that's when you see your phone start ringing. So that would be my answer to this question. And again, a lot of persons will do projects and don't consult an engineer at all. And then again, as I said, once you're in the problem and cracking start occur, you start to see a dip in the slab, everybody's running for the road, and saying, call somebody. So it's a profession that isn't appreciated a lot, but it's the first person to always call for when you're in problem. Can you imagine?
So that makes me bring up a follow-up question to that. At what point or stage of the project should a structural engineer come on board or be on board?
Once you get your design and signed off on them from the architect, so you can approach your engineer.
And from your perspective, you're saying a structural engineer is essential to any construction project happening.
Very much so.
Okay.
I've been on projects, or even simple as a house. I've been on house construction where I've joined the project from the start of the construction phase.
Yeah.
And it was a draftsperson who drew the plan, and they had some columns in certain areas, and it was killing the floor of the building, and it's unnecessary cost. I mean, the steel. I remember the client calling me one time saying that, Ryan, listen to my material list. It's a house, bear in mind. When he started out with the first thing on the list was a 1-inch steel. I was like, where do you know that 1-inch steel? It's a house, you're building a house. Where is this going? You understand? So you're paying more because somebody wasn't sure of a design. And it still comes back down to cost and design. What is acceptable and required in each of those elements of the building.
Gotcha. Okay, so good to know. I just want to make that very, very clear. This next question is from Merrill Murray. Do structural engineers check the land for structural issues, i.e. such as water problems, or is that the surveyor's job?
Well, when you say water problem, you have to be more specific. I mean, prone to flooding, not getting potable water,
Mm-hmm.
water problems, But anything regarding land, it's more in the capability of saying soil tests, any hydraulical reports that are there for the property as well. Um, and those are the initial reports that you will need doing any projects, either close to the beach, away from it, within these areas, and those are mostly any report you need for the land, especially hillside development, because you realize there's a lot of hillside development as well.
Right.
Yeah. So the soil tests and the hydraulic reports are the first essential reports I would say that are very crucial to any start of any project being designed.
Okay. Thank you for that. Clarity Media asks, what percentage of time is he on site? Honestly, I might want to hire you. I need specifics here.
Well, can I go back over the first part? What percent of the
What
time?
percent of the time are you on site?
As I said, it's more at the initial stage, starting from foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And once I come and do the inspection on the steel, and I say, okay, you're green light to cast the footings, and then you can start the block work, you reach floor. So it's a critical stage. It's a foundation, floor level. Once you reach up to your beam level, and any other further floor from there on. So it's just at critical points. It's not throughout the everyday kind of situation or every 2 day.
Gotcha. Then I have another question from Fitzroy Williams. So this is going to be two parts. It says, I have a construction background, and if Jamaica has a serious earthquake, I'm very concerned about the homes. Also, I don't see a wide variety of rebar size being used. All the rebar are like a number 5 or smaller.
And again, it comes back to saying that house, any house or buildings that are designed, especially back then, I've seen some houses that, trust me, when you look back at it, you wonder if an engineer was even here or trust me, I've been shocked a lot. I would say,
Mhm.
especially through the houses, and I won't call certain areas, but I've seen those homes don't even have columns or stiffeners at interconnecting points through the house. So a lot of times and they have poor, their soil will absorb water a lot. So you tend to get settlement in your foundation, hence crackings will appear in the wall. So
Mhm.
I've been in that area a lot and seen these things. I realized that okay, these homes don't have stiffeners or columns anywhere in the house. So I would say it's a concern, yes, but it will survive. I mean,
It will survive. Nobody wants to hear that.
I mean, I don't know, but you can look at things like that and say, all right, you've been around for so much years, and
Right. Okay.
we have some. Even the other day, we had I don't remember what size earthquake we had last year. Was it last year? We had some earthquakes, and I
Mhm.
mean, we survived.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Okay.
I would strongly suggest though doing any addition again to our existing structure. You still need to get your structural assessment done. And then once you know that, okay, your house is suitable to take an additional floor or any other addition around the house, that is where now the design comes in place from a structural engineer. Because if you go ahead and do your addition now, and I told you that these houses don't have any stiffness in them, then imagine you have an additional weight above you with a slab, walls, and another roof structure
Mhm.
on top of these existing walls that can't even take, you know. So you can imagine that it's you have to get an engineer. Any small or big scope of works.
Got it. Got a question here from Cherie DJA. If someone is choosing to build on a hill, What are some key factors to look into to help avoid structural issues long term?
All right. I would say we have a Hillside development manual, and it will always guide you. And it's there are steps to take in consideration when doing anything on the hillside. So once a hill is sloping at a certain angle or degree, and the soil type again is critical. Um, a lot of time you have water features that will run through the property as well, because these streams will start from the hills and get wider to the water courses throughout the property. So you have all of these you have a checklist. So once an engineer goes to site, they know what to look for, what other reports to request, and take in consideration what and especially your design. Again, it comes back to what design you're going to do on that property, on that hillside. So
All right, thank you for that. Got a question here from Mark McCarthy. It says, quick questions. Have you worked with the SRC concrete panel systems? And how do you feel about using the substrate material to build 4 to 5 story buildings in Jamaica?
I haven't used it in any of my projects as yet, but I know about them.
Okay.
And again, with any of these systems that comes in play, they will have their specifications of what is the span that they can, what's the max span that they can space apart, what the loadings are as well. So even if you're saying that these SRC concrete panels can go to 4 or 5 story, if the specification shows that yes you can get it, but it will come at a concern of what are your spans, what are your loadings, and again you always go after the specifications to tell you if you can get it or not. Because at the end of the day, when you have the property, you will design the foundation, and that is where now, because again, when we're doing the design, you start from top to bottom, as architects start from bottom to top.
Gotcha. All right, I got a question here from Jen. Is slip from construction for high-rise buildings workable for JA in the long term? A friend recently said that for Jamaica's location and geology, it is not structurally safe over time.
And again, it comes back to getting these reports for each of these property, no matter where the locations are, and you always get a soil test report. So once you get a soil test report done, they will tell you what type of foundation is suitable for the soil that is present on the property. And they will always give considerations what to use and they will always ask you, what do you plan to use the property for? If you want to go 20 story, 50 story, 10, 5, 2, they will tell you what depth to go to get that bearing capacity suitable for your building or any design you plan to put there. So we have capable professionals to do all of these no matter what. And again, it still comes back from doing your reports or soil tests, because if you're going to put up an 8-story apartment building and you haven't done a soil test report, you follow me? It is yeah. one is essential for each to get that building up, and the first step is to get that soil test report done.
So that's my personal follow-up question. At what height do you need to get a soil test? Like, do you need one for a 2-story building, or do you need one for like 4 stories and up or something like that?
Tricky, but not tricky, but it's, I normally recommend them from 3 up.
3 up.
Others, okay. I mean, it just depends on what you plan to do with this building and your factor safety as well. And again, surrounding areas, I mean, you could be right here and take 20 steps down the road in a different soil type. So, and I've seen that happen. Trust me, I've seen that happen a lot. You might think, okay, this guy built an 8-story apartment right here. Why can't I build one and it's just down the road? You can't. It's always different. And again, that's short distance and the soil type change. So um, it once you get that soil test done, you always get a recommendation what can be done
Hmm.
with any building or any design. Because again, they will ask for what you're planning to build.
I was gonna ask um with the soil test, like say you're looking at a plot of land, I don't know, however many acres, maybe like 2 or 3 acres that you're looking at, and you're like you said, your whole goal is you want to put up this 20-story building. Do you, in terms of, in respect to like the process that you go to in deciding whether you want to buy that piece of land to do the 20 stories, I guess that would also be part of the purchasing process, is to do that soil test.
All right. If, as I said, you haven't bought by the land as yet, but
Right.
you can do preliminary checks. And again, it still comes on to, I mean, talking with persons or other professions. Again, if you're looking to get a land certain place, you might be approach a geotechnical engineer and say, let's have an agreement. If I buy the land, you know,
I see.
but if
Hmm.
we can work out something now, give me a soil test report done. And again, you do these necessary checks to say, okay, it doesn't make sense to spend X amount of money on this land and it won't worth it in the long
Hmm.
run. Or can even accept the project that I'm planning to build here.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I'm going to start moving along a little bit quickly. We've got about 14 minutes here.
Okay.
Double question from Clary T. Where can I see his portfolio, and what is the average cost of a structural engineer?
Well, my portfolio, I will send you some information later on with that.
Okay.
The average cost, I mean, we have a handbook with the very costs to price any job, but everybody is different with the
Hmm.
scope of works and costs, so it varies. I can't really say X or Y right now,
Right.
but it
Right.
varies.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. Got a question from Corey MPA. I own a home, not new construction. Is the original plan/design held at the Manchester Parish Council? If not, which agency holds that document?
It would be the municipal, the parish council that will have those documents.
Hmm.
Aside from that, it still depends on what year was the house built because again, a lot of times I haven't seen anybody with the plans for certain houses built in certain times, and it comes again to just to go back a new plans. Get an existing as built drawing done, so you can move to any proposed drawing you plan to do.
Okay. All right. Got another question here. This is from Jennifer Brooks. Hello, Justin. I have 3 acres in Manchester. I would like to build an apartment complex. Can you provide the contact information for this structural engineer? We're going to do that at the end, but might as well. I think a lot of people would like that. Your contact information. If you could tell me, I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. Well, they can reach me by my. Which one is easier?
Oh, you can give whatever
We
you're
can type it in
comfortable.
the chat. I think there's a chat
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. I was going to put it a banner, but you can do both.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So Ryan is doing that.
All right. All right. I'll just put my email address,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that's good for me.
All right. So I'm going to share that in a second.
Can't even edit it. All right.
Are you going to edit it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
editing it.
Okay. All right. Sorry, everyone. We're just making sure we get you the right information. All right. So is this correct?
No.
Aztec.co.
No.
Oh,
I'm
that's not
writing
the right
over.
one. Okay, you're writing over. Okay, no
It
problem.
was. typo. Yeah, that's the last one.
Got it.
So
Okay.
yeah, they can contact me by email and
Okay. So do you want me to put your cell there or just your email?
just the email.
Just the email. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So there is Ryan's contact information for everybody. It's right on the screen. aztec.co@outlook.com. All right. Let's get to some more questions here. This is from Lloyd Roberts. Apart from buildings, has Ryan been involved in any form of design for bridges?
Well, it's more like a driveway, not bridge, I would say, because it never. I would say the longest span was like 15 feet, but I've done a construction for a bridge with a client who approached me to do the project management and also be the engineer, and we did that bridge in Penfield, right around the same time that Garden Town roadway, the breakaway from the roadside in Garden Town in
Oh, I
2020.
remember that. Yeah.
Yes. So I was building the bridge around there at the same time when that collapse happened. So it was and sometimes it does have to work from luck at times, but it worked out for the best because we finished construction 4 months after that roadway collapsed.
Wow.
So
that's
in
when
order to
like it
get
came
money,
off like the side of the mountain.
yeah,
Yeah, I
around
remember.
heading to Garden Town side from Papine. Yeah, so we had one truck on the other side and another truck on the other side. I have to pay a person to come along the, whatever was left along that roadside to come across with every material we needed in order to finish that bridge. So trust me, it was an experience, and again, with luck and God, anything is possible.
All right. You kind of answered this question here, but maybe there's another way you want to answer it. What determines when a soil test is required by building and planning?
It still depends on the scope of works. Again, if you plan to do a 3-story and above structure, again, even from 2-story up, it's best to say you can get the soil test done and take it from there. Because again, some of these agencies will request it, or any other reports will be needed for any planning and permits you're seeking from the municipal or any agency.
Okay, got another question here from Clarity. What structural elements does he feel most confident about when building in Jamaica? Blocks versus concrete, foam versus question mark, etc.
I mean, block on concrete, you cannot go wrong from there. And again, it still depends on cost because they can still use the foam and steel. It's just cost again is the end product. Because you can still achieve anything you're achieving from the block on concrete.
Another one from Lloyd Roberts. Can Ryan give us the name or names of any major project or projects that he personally has been involved with for a stamp of approval?
And again, I still have my associate that I say I work with. He's a PE on any projects that we're doing, and I'm his associate, as I said. So from time to time, but I cannot give any name of any major project right now. Still on,
Okay.
Yes.
No prob. I got a question from Cherie D. Since the grilling of windows is not done as much anymore, I've been seeing more weatherproof, shatterproof, and even bulletproof. Is that more common now?
Again, that is more based on the budget as well, because you still have the impact resistant windows that normally use at the gas stations use them a lot because the openings are so large. You have to change the type of windows you're using. So I mean, using it for a home again, it's still within your costs if you can afford to put it there. Yeah, but persons still use grill. The grillings. They might just put it on the inside to let the outside look very, more appealing. So it's still on the inside. It's just hidden They just did a good work, so you think it's not there.
So to Cherie's question, like, are you seeing people who can afford it, like you're saying, like using a type of window or glass that
Mhm.
perhaps is more protects you even more than a grill would?
Yeah, but again, it still depends on your opening because again, if it slides and your opening is very large, you can't protect it. You still can't go through it.
Mm. Even like I'm thinking more along the lines of like say bulletproof glass.
Um, the, the bulletproof again, it still depends on the design of the window
Mm-hmm.
because again, if you still have a large opening from the window, can't really protect it as much.
Gotcha. Understood. Right. Last few questions here. I'm trying to get some people who haven't asked any questions. Um, okay, well, this one's from Fitzroy. Fitzroy Williams. Also, when a homeowner go up an additional floor, who approves that? Because I know that they don't have the structural capacity if that wasn't planned as part of the foundation or the first floor.
All right, all I would say this from the start.
Mm-hmm.
All building approvals are approved and given by the municipal for each of those parish councils.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it still depends on your scope of works because if once you're doing any project certain square footage, they will require an engineer PE stamp or an assessment report being done on the existing structure. So once those are accompanied by the proposed plans and the existing plans to the municipal, they will go through it and assess it to give your approval.
Okay. All right. And then I don't think we have any more. Let's. I think this is going to be the last question, and then we can wrap up here. This is from Clarity Media. Please describe in detail the sewage engineering.
Well, that would entails, the manuals, the grease trap. The grease trap is from the kitchen, separating the oil from the water so you don't clog up the system. Um, and then it goes to the septic tank, and then a rebed and chlorination chamber if necessary, and then to our absorption pit. So
Mhm.
normally in our back in the days, we normally use pits. That's so everything goes to the pit, then a truck will come to draw it. But we supposed to have a we supposed to have and you're supposed to build it the same system that I just explained, the three phase system, the tertiary treatment system, which is the septic, the rebed, and the pit. So that now will reduce any cost of you paying for a truck to come and draw anything.
Mhm.
You understand? So once without that system, you will always see that persons will say, the systems are backed up or clogged up or the pit is overflowing. All of these things are because they don't have the necessary stages of that treatment system.
Gotcha. All right. And I think this is actually a great question to end on,
Mm-hmm.
which is from Christina Mason. And she asks, can Ryan Dane tell us what he loves the most about structural engineering?
I mean, I would say being there to see something from start to end and knowing that you're a part of it is very rewarding. And yeah, I mean, it's just the presence of seeing that, wow, this was on the paper right here and you did the design. I know it's right in front of you. And, you can always be proud of something that you have your worked on. It's a part of your name and a part of your portfolio and persons, and, it's always there. And again, you will always have your projects that you will see as a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and some has some headaches. um, but yeah, every project is different, and you will have your pros and cons. And it's a very enjoyable feel for me. I can say I wake up and I love what I do, and it's never a drag. It's never a drag. And I mean, clients will call me 6 o'clock to say, "Aaron, I need you on site right now." I said, "It's not even 8:30 yet." That's so. So it's something that you're very critical and persons need you. And once they know what you bring to the table,
Mm-hmm.
trust me, you'll always get that call.
Awesome. Like I said earlier, I want to be very respectful of your time, Ryan. And for everyone here, this is Mr. Johnson, who is a structural engineer from Aztec Design, managing director over there. And I have his email address there on the screen. So if you have any further questions or are looking to perhaps use his services, you can contact him at that email address right there, aztec.co@outlook.com. And once again, I want to say thank you very much, Mr. Johnson, for joining us here today. As you can see, this community is very interested in what you do for a living, and they are in their own way trying to create their own Jamaican dream. And I think you really help them get a much better understanding of the importance of a structural engineer and how they possibly can do some of these, not turning these dreams more so into a reality. So I will leave it right there. Again, thank you for spending the time with us on this Sunday afternoon.
Thanks for having me. Trust me.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. And you'll look out for those emails. They probably already started coming in.
As I would say, it's not 8:30 yet.
All right, cool. I don't know if you have any closing remarks. I want to give it over to you to close this out here in this segment.
Again, as any profession or any career or skill, where again, sometimes you'll see any of these, again, career or anything, and it's just the appreciation of them. A lot of persons don't appreciate what we do, but as I tell you, once a problem arises, it's the first phone call. You don't see any problem to come up. So it's just a more appreciation of what we do and services that we bring to make sure so that we have a safe and a complete project, because a lot of projects start and can't complete because I might have a poor engineering or any other aspect, funding or anything. But it's just an appreciation for what we do.
Right. And as somebody said in the comments earlier, prevention is better than cure. So call Mr. Johnson first before you get yourself into an emergency situation.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I think I know I said the last question, but Joe came up with a really, really good question, because this is a theme that we talk a lot about here on the channel, but I think this is a great question. And if you wouldn't mind just entertaining us a little bit here, and which is, Joe's asking, I wanted to know why he decided to stay and work in Jamaica, because we hear a lot about the brain drain that's happening in Jamaica, and professionals like yourself in Jamaica, young professionals like yourself, they're choosing to leave the island and go abroad. And you have obviously chosen to keep your skill sets and your profession here in Jamaica. And so to Joe's question, why have you chosen to stay in Jamaica as opposed to go to another country?
I wasn't foreign minded as any other person. I'm not really frightened to go overseas, but I want to give back a lot. I think I have a lot to contribute to my own country, as well as teaching youths, because again, not a lot of persons will get the experience to even come in the structure, being a structural engineer. A lot of engineers, especially in my year group, might be ventured into project management aspect of it. So I want to always give back and show that we have a sustainable career path out here, and again, you can see why the whole construction industry. You turn left, right, and center, there's something going on.
Awesome. Well, I can tell you this community is going to support you and what you do for sure, and we want to keep young professionals like yourself here to really, you're literally helping to build this country. So. Yeah. We want to support that in any way that we can. So thank you again, Mr. Ryan Johnson, who's been our guest today. Appreciate your time.
Yes, thanks for having me again.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye. All right. That was Ryan Johnson, structural engineer. Thank you guys so much for really, really awesome, great questions. as usual, I expect nothing less. Really, really great questions, super interactive. As usual, hats off to the Throp Media team, to Havrika, for just continuously and consistently getting these amazing guests that we have on this show. I feel very grateful to have the team that I have to really bring this great value to you all, into this Throp community. Gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna answer those last questions that we had come in before Ryan joined us, and gonna end the stream there. See you in a second.
Hey.
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica. There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November. All right, and we're back. Let's get to some of these comments here. Let's stick along with ThropX. Clive Thompson says, "Hi, Throp. Looking forward to ThropX in November. Ticket purchased and room booked at Travelers." Clive Thompson, UK. Sorry, the camera keeps cutting out here. I think the cord is a little slack. But Clive, looking forward to having you. Looking forward to meeting you. It's going to be a good one for sure. Couple questions that I've been getting about the conference. So one of them has to do with the virtual tickets. So we have virtual tickets available if you can't make it in person. And so that's going to be particularly for the Tuesday, the Wednesday, which are the 2 days of panel discussions. And those will be live. You will have full access to them after the conference. You can always go back forever. They will always be there. So if there's something that you missed, or perhaps you can't watch it live and you can't join us live while it's happening, you will be able to go back and watch the replay at your convenience. The second question that keeps coming up is, will you be able to interact and ask questions if you are joining virtually? And the answer is yes. We try to do, not guaranteeing that your question will be asked, but we try to do a few questions per panel discussion that comes in from virtual conference attendees. And I also, at least going off of last year, a lot of people asked from the live audience, that is, who is in-person audience, I should say, asked a lot of questions that I think a lot of people had. So hopefully your question that you have that may not be answered gets answered during the actual session by somebody who's there. So you will be able to answer questions. The other question that I keep getting is when you will receive the link to the live stream. So that's going to happen a lot closer to the conference, and trust me, you'll get it. Everybody, you'll get the link in due time, and it will be there and it will be available for you. So just trust me, like it's not set up because we're not at that stage of preparation, if you will, but that will be available for you before the conference takes place. And I believe it's like it's 9 to 5, if I'm not mistaken. I think we're starting at 9. Maybe one of the days we start a little bit earlier. But we'll always tell people get there a few minutes early. Just make sure the technology is set up and everything like that, and you're good to go. But even no big deal. If you show up late, you can always rewind and go back live and scrub through. But if you want to get your questions answered while the stream is going on, so to speak, you can join. You can join that way. Got a couple of questions here. Joe asks, I need to figure out my work schedule so I can come to ThropX Alive this year, or else I'll just come for the weekend. That would be great, Joe. And also, like, let me know. And like, people have been emailing me, which I encourage you to do. If you have specific questions about what's on what day, and like some people are coming for like specific reasons. Some people are coming like, okay, all I want to do is I want to learn about real estate. I have this piece of land. I need a lawyer. I need this. I need that. And I'll tell you, come on this day. Some people want to come and they have their money ready to go. They're looking for an investment opportunity. They just want to see it with their own eyes. So obviously I'm going to direct them to the day that we're going to go on the real estate tour, that they can come and join us. Some people are coming purely for networking. And so there we have a full day of networking that is outside of like off property, and we're socializing and that sort of thing. So we have a day dedicated to that as well. So if you can't make the entire week and there are specific goals that you have that it's just specific to you, that you are interested in that thing, then let me know and I can direct you, especially if you have limited time, which I know some people have reached out to me that they can't make the whole week, but they can dedicate 2 days. I can tell you, like, these are the 2 days that you come to based on your circumstance, based on your situation. So great point. Let's see, any more questions here? I think that's all I have on I think that's all I had as far as updates on ThropX. Another newsletter will be coming out this week with the release of more speakers, but just continuing to plan accordingly and in line with what we've created. I always say this is an event that we came up with, like, here on this live stream. This is not my idea. This is your idea, the community, more than anything else. And then we've been collaborating on this, on molding this and making it into something that everybody can get great value from. So that continues to be the process as we go through this. And the speakers, I'm continue to be very, very excited about the folks who are committing. So we'll be releasing, in a sense, a new batch of speakers that have committed to ThropX. All right, let's get to a few more comments here. Paul Williams says, well said, especially his closing speech. Solid young man that believes in himself and has a country also to help others. Paul Williams says, we'll definitely be reaching out to him. Throp, thanks again. You're doing a great job for all of us. Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate that. Shane Love Coaching says, by the end of 2023, most of us Throppers will be graduates of Throp channel via YouTube Uni. We will be well versed of various aspects of home ownership, construction process, and JA. Thanks, Throp and the team, for always producing high quality, valuable content. Keep up the excellent work. Thank you very much, Shayna. That is very kind of you to say. And my pleasure, honestly, my pleasure. And I am just as thankful as you are to my team for really bringing on these fantastic guests. So I will continue to do my best to bring this type of value to the table and this type of value to the community. And if you know people out there who could really use this information, who are maybe on their own journey, different phases of the journey, as we all are in terms of investing or moving to Jamaica, please share this with them. I think this can help a lot of people. And I think the more people that this information can get out to, the more people can avoid some common mistakes, some common pitfalls. And that's also one of the goals of this channel. That's also one of the goals of having individuals come on here. So we learn from others and we don't make mistakes that and say, only if I had known, I wish I had knew. We're avoiding that by having guests on like Ryan, like Mr. Johnson here, like the quantity surveyor. Like there's so much I'm learning as well. Like I don't claim to know it all, not by any means. And so this is one of the best ways to learn, as opposed to doing it ourselves and learning the hard way and getting burned and losing money and all these different things and all these horror stories that we hear. So this is a great way to educate ourselves, and I will again continue to do my best to bring this type of value to the floor and to the table. So yeah, please share. It also helps with the channel, and of course, please hit that like button. Callison says, surprised with the leniency with regards to sewage report in Jamaica. Here in California, most new construction/additions require sewage report regardless of the number of floors, commercial or residential. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess. Sorry, keeps cutting out here. Yeah, I guess they do different things differently in Jamaica. Clarchi says, I'm so glad you addressed the conference. Of course, no problem. I will continue to do so. Sherry D says, I wish I could attend. That's my busy time, for work, so I can't. I've been looking into moving back, and now, especially with your content, looking into investment opportunities. Wish I could make it. Well, you come virtually. Always watch at a later time. I understand some people like it's just a bad time of the year, but yeah. We're even thinking of doing like some sort of mini meetup like during the year, but this is challenging enough to try to plan. So that's just a thought like way in the back of my head. But for now, the thought is I'm reading the comments. For now, the thought is really to focus on ThropX more than anything else. King Abija Throp. So you should do an episode with Ronnie Pottinger from Jamaica Good Life. He has a great story to tell. Yeah, somebody brought him up a little while ago, and we're supposed to do a collaboration. Must have been 2019, pre-COVID, and just we were on the phone. I was in where was I? I was in Florida, and at a convention, and we were supposed to come back and do this collaboration, and it just didn't work out. So the foundation has been laid for us to do something. And he's actually stayed at Travelers before. He did an episode on Travelers. This is before I was a YouTuber and before I started doing this. So interesting dynamic shift, if you will. So yeah, we will definitely at some point we will do some sort of collaboration and get him on the show, or maybe I go on his channel, do both, whatever have you. Paul Williams says, I am the owner of Cali Cottages Negril across from Sips and Bites West End Road, still waiting on the Parish Council to approve my documents for 15 units. Yeah, Paul, I remember you reached out to me. I don't know. I guess it was out here. We were supposed to get together. Yeah, I want to come check it out at some point. It's right down the road. So I definitely want to come check that out at some point, Paul. And yeah, interested to see where your project goes, because 15 units, it's, I would say it may sound small, but 15 new units in Negril, I mean, it's so needed. It's so needed. And I'm not sure if you're doing Airbnb, long-term rentals, but for sure there, as you know, Paul, like from this channel or otherwise, maybe your own personal experience, that there is a huge need for housing in Negril, and I think your 15 units would do wonders for our community, for the Negril community. Cherie D says, you and your team are amazing. Truly have learned a lot from you and the community since joining. Thank you, Cherie D. Appreciate that, and I'm glad to know that you're getting some value out of this. Andrew Blake says, Strop, it's a long journey in building a house or buying, but no way over for some yet. Keep on keeping on with the information you share with us. Bless up all the family. Thank you, Andrew. Lloyd Roberts says, Throb, thanks for asking Ryan my questions. In my opinion, he has a very open mind, and I am not a building engineer, but I was an electrical supervisor for Purchase College in New York. Cool. SUNY Purchase? Is that? I know SUNY, if that's what you're talking about, SUNY Purchase. Andrew Blick says, Rondi stays at Travelers. Well, there you go. Makes perfect sense. Clarity Media says, Throp, what can you share about the new hospital building? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about Omega Medical, the Omega Hospital. No, I mean, it's a private, newly built hospital. I would say first world care at the end facility for sure. One thing I keep saying, and which is great for Negril, is that they have an MRI machine. But at least the last time I checked, I don't know about today, at least it's not up and running at this point, but it is there, which is great. So at some point, Negril will have its own MRI machine, which is going to do just wonders for Negril, but not only Negril, but Sav Lamar, Little London, Green Island, like all these places where you would have to go all the way to Montego Bay to get an MRI done. Now you can come to Negril. And I think that's going to be fantastic once that is up and running. And I think that's going to do so many wonders for people who are considering living there. Are you talking about the quality of the building? I can't speak to that. I don't know. It looks great. I can tell you that. But from a structural engineering standpoint, I have no idea. I can't speak to that at all. I think you talking about more along the services that they have to offer. But again, I can't speak to the quality of the construction. It looks great, looks solid, seems like it, but who knows? All right, I think we're going to leave it right there. I'm just trying to check these any other comments that I have missed from earlier. But yeah, I think we're going to leave it right there. I thought that was a really good interview by Mr. Johnson there. And as far as what's going on later this week, we got live stream again on Thursday. Definitely going to be releasing a podcast this Saturday. I know we've been slacking, but trust me, the focus has been everything into ThropX. But as I said before, we have a library of content. It's just a matter of editing them and getting it out. But the production of all of those shoots has already been completed. And now we're just going to be rolling them out. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be having content coming out, like leading right up to ThropX, as a matter of fact, because all that stuff has been banked. So yeah, I think we are going to leave it right there. I want to thank you for hanging out with me on this Sunday. This was a lot of fun. I, of course, always enjoy your questions and appreciate it. Like, you guys are like extremely educated and on just the topics that we have going on. Like, you tell, like, so many people already have done their homework. They are vested. And in many ways, you all are very much ahead of the curve. And for the people who are asking the questions, thank you, because I know there's so many other people who have those questions or they may not have even thought of them. And it's like, hey, I'm doing this project, or thinking about doing this project, and I never even thought about asking that question or the importance of the answer to that question. So I appreciate you all. So look out for the newsletter this week. We'll be doing another live stream again on Thursday, which will be fun. And then, of course, we'll be back again on Sunday. So thank you all for hanging out. And I will leave it there. I'm going to leave you again with the ThropX trailer. I will see you on Thursday's live stream. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for hanging. Peace.
Hey.
There's been so much interest in the economic boom that's been happening in Jamaica, both on the investment side and also as a place to move to. Let me tell you about a conference that might help you with this stuff. ThropX is a 5-day Jamaica investment conference that takes place from November 13th to November 17th at the beautiful Travelers Beach Resort in Negril, Jamaica. This includes 2 full days of expert panel presentations on all aspects of moving to and investing in Jamaica. This includes the brightest minds in the Jamaican real estate market, certified financial advisors from the most prestigious financial groups in Jamaica, banking professionals from the most esteemed banking institutions in Jamaica, among others. If you are thinking about moving to Jamaica, this conference is the perfect opportunity to have direct access to not only individuals who have achieved your dream of moving to Jamaica, but you'll also be among like-minded conference goers who are also trying to move to Jamaica. In addition, there will be 1 full day dedicated to touring both residential and commercial real estate for sale in the greater Negril area to give you a tangible idea of the real estate landscape in Jamaica.
There will be exclusive properties for sale on this tour that you will not find listed anywhere else. If you are even remotely considering moving to or investing in Jamaica, this is the conference for you. This is the best way to dip your toe in the water of figuring out whether Jamaica is the right place for you to invest and to live. For more information, please visit thropx.com and join our mailing list. I look forward to seeing you in November.